We are now recording. All right. So again, we are going to go ahead and get started today. Most of you have been on sessions or trainings already, so I'm not going to go through the process of reintroducing myself to everybody. Just thank you all for taking the time to join us for these trainings that we're doing. Hopefully you're all getting something out of the trainings, gotten some good feedback from people that they are, so appreciative of that. Today we have Terrance Snow with us. Terrance has been running a multi-city photo booth company headquartered in Seattle for 2 years. He has over a decade of software engineering experience, which allows him to be the bane of support teams as he pushes products to their limits. He consults for various photo booth companies across the country, including my own, helping everyone from small to large provide the best customer experience. Terrance is going to share with us today his experiences with Darkroom Booth, the event gallery, some of the basic things that it can do, and some of the creative things that he has been doing with the software. So at this point, I'm going to turn it over to Terrance. And thank you very much for joining us, Terrance.
Hi all. Yeah, so my name is Terrance. This is my first time presenting via Zoom, so I don't know if I'm doing anything right. Shane, can people see my screen and stuff like that? Yes. I can't tell.
I can see your screen.
And so you see Darkroom, event gallery, sort of thing? Okay, cool. Sorry, first time through Zoom, so I just want to make sure everyone's good.
One thing real quick, just a reminder, if people have questions as we're going along, please type those into the chat, and I will ask them of Terrance at the appropriate point in the presentation. Thank you.
So I thought I would just start with using my actual event gallery as a demo, right? I don't mind adding and deleting stuff. So I wanted to show you what mine actually looks like. Yeah, okay. Well, this is so weird to start with. All right, so event gallery in its simplest settings is almost a completely customizable hosting software for photos. Right, a lot of people use the analogy of like SmugMug or other similar services. In my opinion, I've tried them all. I love Event Gallery. I think it's 99% perfect. And so I'm going to take you through some of the various different things you can do today with it. Yeah, all right. So I kind of want to get started by talking about the 4 main ways you can upload images. So I already have like a gallery set up. We'll go through how to set that up, right? The first basic way is just by adding photos directly, desktop. That's where I want to be, right? So I'm going to add this image, add, right? Uploads, you can do Dropbox and Google Drive. I usually just upload directly, complete, right? So now we have a photo here, right? I'm going to minimize this, right? This computer is actually running the Darkroom hot folder software that you can buy from Darkroom. So I'm going to drag in another image here, right into the Darkroom hot folder, and I'm going to drag in a third image to this drive hot folder. Right?
Terrance, we're not seeing that.
Oh, you can't see that? Oh, nope. Okay, sorry.
You're
Yep. New share, screen 1. There we go. Now you should be. You see my desktop now? Yes. So I just dragged a file into the Darkroom hot folder shortcut here in the drive folder here. So if I now open this back up, right, and we refresh, please don't make me look dumb. Yay, live demos. Settings. Let's make sure I did this all right. Where'd it go? There we go. Test event, there, no, custom date. That's probably what happened. So this is probably a good thing. Almost 100% of the questions I see on the Darkroom forums about Event Gallery is because you don't set your date correctly and then files don't get uploaded as expected. So make sure you set your dates. Let's try that again. There we go. Okay, see, it popped up through there, right? So that's using the Darkroom hot folder. The other one is going to take a few minutes. It uses Zapier behind the scenes So what's actually happening is that, Darkroom software actually has an API, so you can write software to upload to Event Gallery if you want to. And so actually what I have behind the scenes is this is linked to my Google Drive. When I put a file in there, Zapier sees it. Zapier then calls the Darkroom API to then send the photo. The other two ways to upload photos is right from Darkroom Booth and right from Darkroom Core. Wally went over how to do it in Darkroom Booth, so I'm not going to go over it here. We have kind of other things to go through.
So Terrance, there's
Yes.
already a question that either you or Wally could address.
Yep.
Is how do you get the Darkroom hot folder application?
Oh, you just download it right off the Darkroom software website, right? So,
And it's $99, I believe.
$99. Yeah, I actually did it last night. I have not used this software until last night, and it took me, all of 30 seconds to kind of get it set up. Yeah, so Darkroom.
Hot folder is a one-time fee. It's not like a monthly.
Yep, one-time fee of $99. Right, products, right, hot folder app, right, buy hot folder, right. So I just literally last night, I just filled out this form, right, and I got an email with the download link, and you get an email with the key, right. So it was very easy to set up. Any other questions about hot folder right now there, Shane?
Nope.
Okay, cool. Just wanted to double check. Okay, so let's see if, okay. I'm not paying for the expensive Zapier thing, so it pulls every 15 minutes. So we'll come back to this over some time. I kind of want to go over some of the basic settings. Oh, see, when you don't have the date set up correctly, Hot Room and Hot Folder in Darkroom will actually create events for you. Like it dynamically creates them as you add a photo there. And so you don't have to come in and pre-set up your galleries. You can just set them right up in Hot Folder or set them up right here or set them up in Darkroom or Core, and it'll just create galleries as you go. And so that's why it failed the first time, was because I didn't have the date set. And so it uses today's date by default. And so now I have two galleries called test event, right? But with two different dates, the 22nd versus the 23rd. If you notice, the URL for this one is test event, and it has the date. URL for this one is just test event, which is why it doesn't have a conflict. All right. So we're going to go through the settings, right? So this is the overall Darkroom settings. I guess I should pull up my actual one so you can see them at the same time, right? So here in the basic settings, you can set up what your company, your website, your site logo, and your favicon and your microsite logo, right? So here you can see that on my actual site. You can see my company logo up here in the left. You can see in the URL bar the favicon, right? You can be different. I run them all the same. Here we go, right? And so on your microsite, right, I have a microsite here, and so you can see the logo here on the microsite that has the same thing. Again, I just keep them all the same. These are all the defaults that happen. So if we go over to customization, we can do a couple things, right? So I really don't know the plans right now, but when I started using Event Gallery, it was a paid feature to have a custom domain, or you had to have like a certain tier. I think that may have changed now, but almost everyone, I've helped a lot of people with Event Gallery. Almost no one seems to use a custom domain. I do. But you set up your custom domain. So smilingdogentertainment.eventgallery.com could be one. Tease Productions is where I started, right? But I have a custom one. So as you see now in the URL bar, if you go to gallery.photoboothpicture.company, it'll take you to my event gallery. I have set up Google Analytics, Google Tag Manager. Google Tag Manager, super important. I'll come back to that later, right? If you don't have it set up, I really recommend you do it. Read CAPTCHA, I set it up last night to see what it did. Not sure yet. I'm going to send an email into support to figure that one out. And then you can set up some basic things of like in this, when someone's looking at a photo, they can email themselves. So you can set like what your email address or your from name is going to be. I personally use a person's name, so I use mine, but I could make up like Emily, and all my stuff could come from Emily rather than just like info at or sales at email addresses. So now we get into some more of the settings. So if you go to
Terrance, before
Sure.
you move forward,
Yep.
in the customization, I'm going to ask this question because this is one that I had to ask Wally about, and we talked about it offline when we were talking about something else. Can
Yep.
you briefly talk about the steps that go into using a custom domain? Because it's not as simple as just putting in a custom domain name in the custom domain name field.
Yeah. Okay. Yes. I guess I can go into that. Right. The problem is that yes. So you put in that field there that tells Darkroom of like, hey, when you eventually see this, right, this is what happens. The next steps you have to do is set up your DNS. And that's the part I really don't want to get into. Like everyone has a different DNS host, everyone has a different provider, and so it can get complicated, right?
So basically, you have to work with so I'll just use myself as an example. All of my website domain names have been purchased through GoDaddy. So when you're talking about the DNS, you're gonna have to go to your GoDaddy site and set it up on your GoDaddy site in order to direct it where it needs to go, or whoever your website domain host is. That's who
Right.
you're going to have to work with to set up your DNS for that.
Correct. Right. And so the kind of important parts here, right, is you have to set up an A. The name photos isn't exactly the right thing, right? So like in my case, I use gallery, right? So you could do photo booth picture company, you could do gallery, you can do whatever, right? So this photos is whatever you kind of choose it to be, right? And then you have to put in this value, but it's quite a complex thing, right? And we could spend an entire hour kind of on how to set this up.
Right. Just so that, I guess my point was just so that people understand.
Yeah, it's
just
not as simple as putting it in that field and clicking save. There's
right.
a second step.
Right. You have to work with your domain host in order to set the parameters properly for it to direct to your custom domain name.
Yeah, and I know a lot of people in the industry use like CheckCherry and Boothbook. Both of those have very similar setup processes. Like if you want to do like booking.company.com, you have to do a very similar process. So there's a couple of things along this line that you have to end up doing.
All right.
Okay.
Sorry to interrupt.
No, it's all good. Very good question. Very good question. So we now have our contact and about page, which you can edit each of them. I didn't even know these were here until last night, so I just put some dummy stuff in there. But as you can see over on, you have a hamburger menu, and you can actually like put in contact information of like, here's a page that you can completely put in information in, or you can redirect it to your regular website. Yeah. Same thing with the about page. Attach photo for image shares, right? I don't know about that one. Okay. My guess is that when you email it, rather than like sending you a link to it, it'll actually attach it to the email so you can download it directly. Search engine indexing. This is if you want your photo site to be discoverable, be it Google, Bing, Yahoo, whatever. I have it on. I think it does great things for my SEO, and I'll kind of show you how I'm build a little bit of that with Event Gallery. Hide the search button. Have lots of galleries. Sometimes you want people to be able to search them. I don't really have a lot. I really don't like people just browsing my gallery without some targeting focus stuff. So but I keep it on. Hamburger menu is this icon over here on the right-hand side. So this is the search one. This is the hamburger one, right? And so if you don't want people to be able to drop down to get your different information, you can always hide that and save it. Right. So actually, I'll do it as an example, right? So we're going to hide the search bar, hide the hamburger menu, hit save, right? And then refresh. You can see that they're both gone now. That's actually how I kind of prefer it. So I'm going to hide those. Yeah. Okay. Where do we have? So by default on your accounts, you'll have a copyright that says like, this software or powered by Event Gallery, stuff. I disable that. Again, I want to hide who I use for my software as much as possible. And so I have this custom kind of footer in here. If you go to my website, you can actually see it down here. Visit our website to book your own Seattle photo booth, right? And I kind of put that in there rather than having the default one. Actually, again, I'll show you what it looks like. Hopefully it doesn't destroy it on me. Save, refresh, right? Powered by Darkroom software. I don't want that there, right? I want it to, again, point to me, point to my company, point to all of my features. So disable that, save, right? You can set up watermarks. I'll show you a demo on this earlier, right here, right? Like text watermark, right? Watermark. It's hard to see on the white on white, so that's why I'm gonna make another one. We're gonna make the thing watermark, color black. Yeah, we'll make it like super big, right? Create. If we just refresh here, right, now you can see the second watermark. So I have a white one that says preview and a black one that says watermark. We then have our SMS settings. So in the gallery view or the image view, people can text themselves their photo. I don't have it set up. I disabled it because this is recorded and I don't want you all to know my Twilio information and be charging text messages to me. So I disabled it, but you can use Twilio, enter in your stuff, or MessageBird if that's your particular one. I believe MessageBird is more popular in Europe or Asia. Twilio is kind of seems to be the default here in the US. So those are the general settings, right? We go into account, password. You can invite other people. So if you have other people that upload, employees, things like that, you can do that. Billing. So this tells you I'm on the pro plan, when it renews, and how much Darkroom is charging me. Maybe one day I'll be sponsored by Darkroom and I won't have to pay for this every month. But it's well worth the $30. Gallery statistics, right? So you can see my June happy hour. Actually, that's not true. Oh, I thought I could sort. I guess I can't. That's okay. But like it gives you a general overview of how many times have people been to that gallery, like opened up the link, right? So if you click, where's like science spirits, right? So this is a gallery view, right? Click on one of these. This is an image view, right? And then you have your kind of downloads and socials. Over here, right? So that's your image views, your downloads, right? And then your shares. And you can actually like download a report, right? So like, here's a kind of cool report of like exactly which file is being viewed, how they're being shared. So a lot of people, email's the most popular, Instagram, Facebook message, most downloaded files, kind of a cool little stats. I guess you could get an XML of it. I don't know what's in here. I don't know if it's going to have my customers' email addresses, so I'm not going to open that. Okay. Usage, right? So I currently I'm using 12 gigs. I have 33 galleries and I have 12,000 images. Wow. Okay. And then you can start doing breakdowns of like how much of each gallery has photos and stuff like that. You can actually see it from the page as well, right? So you can actually see here, name of the event, the thing, the date, the visibility of it. So, hey, wait a second. I have private galleries. Where are they? Uh-oh. What happened? That's not good.
So while you're looking for that, a couple of things.
Yep.
Wally did respond. The XML report does include phone number and email addresses.
Good.
So
I'm glad I didn't open that.
you can, get information to remarket to people.
Yep.
And then when you were just talking and showing everybody about the amount of space that you're using, I know that that's kind of been a somewhat common question that people have had. Is this enough space? And I know Wally covered this in the first of these Zoom trainings that we do. But I mean, you can look at this again as the number of galleries that Terrance has up there and the really limited amount of the storage that he's actually using, with those galleries. So to kind of alleviate people's concerns about, is there enough storage on Event Gallery for my, for my photo booth galleries? The answer is pretty much unequivocally yes, there is enough. Because you don't have to keep your galleries up there for, more than 30 days or 60 days or 90 days. If you start to, get to the point where you do approach the maximum amount of storage, most people, this is going to be more than enough storage.
Yeah, I've the New Year's Eve one I did, right? So this living computer museum is all video files, even though there's only 13 of them. They're each like 60 seconds long. Lots of storage there. We upload to this we upload both strips and the raws. And so our New Year's Eve event, which is here, Spectra, right? We have 1,000 photos that we're using just for this one. In our galleries, we have both the 4x6s and the regular ones. So you can see all the 4x6s here. We have a little watermark of like the event. And then if I end up scrolling all the way down, you'll see the 4x6s.
Hey, Terrance.
Yes.
Somebody would like to ask you a question.
Okay. Who?
Larry. Hey, Terrance.
Hey, Larry. What's up?
Hey, man. Thanks for the other day again. I appreciate that. As you showed on the analytics screen, the emailing and that type of thing. But when you and I were talking and last week or the week before, you said you typically set it up to not share from the event gallery, just allow the guests to download it because they're on their own phone, right? Looking at their photos, they're going to email it to themselves.
Yeah. So our typical model, right? And like there's some improvements I'd love in the Darkroom, other Darkroom softwares, right? So we do social sharing from our either social sharing stations or from the booths, right? And so for me, I've already collected all that email information. It's not really important to me, right? To get more email, more tech stuff, like that's not how I really market. Like just like if you've been to an event and blasting you out afterwards, being like, hey, thanks for coming to our booth yesterday. Would you like to would you like to rent your own photo booth? Isn't how I run my business. And so all the social sharing stuff, I just disable. And it's just like, I want it to be convenient of going to just downloading the picture because that's what's important. My site does run a lot of pixel tracking, right? Yeah. And so even though I don't have your email address, if you show up on my gallery, I can then track you via Facebook, LinkedIn, and Google AdWords and kind of hunt you around the internet, which is much more, which is I have found to be a better sort of use of that sort of thing.
More covert. Not in your face emailing them, but you show that there were that folks had emailed from the gallery on that statistics page.
Yeah, I think again, as the product has evolved and I've learned about my business, I've changed things. Right, okay. That happy hour is a year and a half old.
Got it. Okay.
18 months. So,
okay, thanks for clarifying. I appreciate it.
Yep, no problem, Larry. Anything else, Shane? Or
nope.
Okay, cool. So that's kind of the overview of like how to like your basic settings of like setting it up and customizing it for you or getting some analytics and reports out. I'm going to step into the next part of like an actual gallery, right? Okay. So there's definitely some weirdness going on with event gallery because I have a lot more than this, but I only see these showing up. Creating a new gallery is pretty easy, right? So we'll do something like EG demo, right? You pick your event date, right? So going through things, you can describe it, like letting people know what the event is or some information about it or like what these photos were from. Some people like, I did a Halloween event. We had both a 360 booth and a regular photo booth there. I kept them in the same gallery, but you could describe them as like, here's the pictures from the 360 booth. Here's the one from the regular photo booth. You can go through those. As we go through general gallery settings, like, do you want to show up on the home page? I think I have here, if I go back, right? Right, so here's the home page, right? You can see that some of them show up here and some of them are locked, right? So these are password protected. right? So those are the settings. So do you want to show up on the home page? You can disable that, right? Do you want to access it just via the URL? You can do that. And do you want it to be password protected? Then you can set a password. Show breadcrumbs. I believe this has to do with SEO stuff, but I'm not sure, to tell you the truth. I keep it on. You can set your different order of photos. And so you can either do uploaded, oldest to newest, downloaded, file name, setting up a custom footer. I have these set up everywhere. So we go back to that Spectre one, right? So this is your footer at the bottom, right? And so I have a, like, visit our website, book your own vintage photo booth. And so each one of my galleries has a footer set there that links back to a product on my website that I then try to use to drive people to maybe buy. All right, I'll show you this display MP4 video is important. I have a demo on it afterwards, after I kind of get through the overview of the settings. Watermarks, I have a demo on watermarks, right? So we'll go through that, right? Here, logo, favicon, and microsite logo. Yeah, so the logo is the logo text icon on your homepage, emails, and more. Okay, so the logo goes into your emails, your text, those sorts of things. Your favicon is what's in the upper left-hand corner of your tab, and your microsite logo is what ends up like in this URL bar. I have a demo kind of on this as well, if people want to see it, right? You then have your microsite, so you can basically turn on and off everything you need, right? So if you wanted to show what the gallery name is, the date, who created it, logo link, right? So you can actually have click on a link and it can bring you somewhere. Like if you're thinking of a marketing event, if you have your marketer's logo there and you want to bring them to an ad or a landing page or something like that, that's a upsell that can happen. You can change most of the coloring. Again, I have a demo on this. The only thing I found that you can't change is this white bar right here, right? I haven't found a way to change that necessarily. I have a long list that I'm gonna email Wally afterwards after I'm going through this of like, hey, maybe we should improve these things. And I'm sure Wally is now rolling his eyes. Next up is live feeds. I have a demo on this as well. So basically, as photos are being added, you can display a live slideshow of all your photos. I have found this live feed to be a little more robust, in my opinion, than the live slideshow that is built into Darkroom. It is also cross-product compatible. So again, if you can put it in the hot folder, it can show up here. Then you can display it, videos, pictures, anything you want, which I find a little more, like I said, robust. Again, have a demo. Sharing options, right? So you can basically set custom words here. So if someone's posting to Facebook, you can be like, again, think of kind of in your marketing, like our brand activation sort of things of like, okay, if someone's going to post this to Facebook, maybe we want them to tag us on Facebook or have certain hashtags, and you can kind of facilitate that through most of this. Oh, it looks like there's where capture protection is. Okay, I was looking for that setting earlier. I have it set up, but there. WhatsApp, download, attach photo, right? I just disabled them all, right? And I think I just leave download on. Like I said, I don't particularly care to influence. It's there if I have a client who wants it, but for all my personal galleries, I just let them download directly. I don't see any need to email or text. It just is fine for me.
So Terrance.
Yes.
And your opinion. So you answered Larry's question before on this subject. You provide a social media sharing station for people to share their photos from, instead of having them share them directly from their phone using Event Gallery.
Yep.
What do you find to be the advantage of that? Because I actually went the opposite direction. I used to have social media sharing stations and I have eliminated them. And I post QR codes for Event Gallery that people can scan with their phones to get to the Event Gallery, and then they can share them all the same ways from their phone without having to stand in line at a social media sharing station to do the same thing.
So for me, right, the most important thing is branding, right? What brand is showing through, right? And when I do emailing, or maybe not texting, but emailing specifically, it pops, I believe it comes through as something like info@eventgallery.com is the actual email address, though you can kind of change like the reply to and what the name says, right? It still shows someone else's email address, right? And so in Darkroom Booth or Core, right, I can override those things and I can put in my own information, and then it always comes from me and it doesn't reveal anything about who I'm using, right? And
Okay.
that's one of the important things, right? Before
Yep.
this call was getting started, I was talking with Clay, and he's like, why Event Gallery over SmugMug? And the reason I hate SmugMug is they plaster SmugMug everywhere over their galleries, and I'm like, I don't want that. I want my brand. I don't want yours,
Yep.
right? And so again, think of it from a brand activation. Like I set up a little demo for like Coca-Cola here, just to kind of do like a big brand, right? If they're going to be email sharing Coca-Cola, they probably want to use at coca-cola.com email addresses, not, at Event Gallery, right? And so like it's all about the control over branding, right? And so if Event Gallery allowed me to add in my own SMTP settings or something like that, so it comes through my email server or my SendGrid account or something like that, kind of like Twilio, then I would probably allow it.
Okay, so I'm going to ask Wally to jump in for just a second because he just typed something into the chat bar, and I'm pretty sure he discussed this in the first or the second Darkroom booth session that he did, about the email server that you can set up for Event Gallery. So Wally, do you want to jump in and address that?
Yeah, I was trying to figure out how to unmute my microphone. You can set it up your own SMT sending account if you want in Event Gallery, and the main thing I wanted to have when we put this all together is we wanted to have a built-in account where it would just work. So you didn't have to worry about, I can't send email till I set up my own SMTP account to send with. And so we get a lot of support calls from people who have problems doing that with our Windows version of Darkroom Booth, because that's required. And so it does have the option to allow you to set up your own, and it's in each individual event, I believe, so that you can set that up. But you can do that. You can set up your own send account. That way it comes from your email. The built-in is just for convenience.
Yeah, understood, right? And convenience is really important to some people, and I'm glad that the defaults are there to allow people to progress, right? But like I said, I care a lot about that branding, right? And so I want to make sure
Right.
every email comes from me, right?
Yeah,
My
sure.
company, my brand, all those sorts of things.
Yeah, and exactly, that's exactly why we made that available as an option where you can set it up yourself. It is in each individual email or an individual account. You can set it up so you can have it coming from, like you said, a Coca-Cola address for a Coca-Cola.
Let's chat about that more, because as I went through like all the features last night, I didn't find any place to shove that in.
Okay.
But like, let's chat after this, and obviously I can correct or something like that in the future.
Okay.
Thanks, Wally. So Shane, any more questions there?
Nope, I just wanted to get your perspective on why you did it a specific way. And
yeah, so again, maybe I just haven't found the right features in Event Gallery, but that's why I pick, Darkroom Booth or Darkroom Booth for Windows or Darkroom Booth for iPad in order to do my SMTP settings, because I know I can set them there. I know it can come there. I haven't found it in Event Gallery yet. So,
gotcha. Thank you.
Cool. Next up is downloads, right? So you can prevent people from downloading images. You can only allow them to download watermarked images. Again, we'll go over that in a little bit. And you can have them download the whole gallery, right? So like for me, after my event, right, I don't give customers a USB drive, right? I can just give them the password, and now the team I was working with, the marketing team, the events team, whatever, can download all the pictures that they need, and I don't have to transfer them off of Darkroom Booth or whatever and get them over there, right? They have them all. They can just download the whole gallery and don't have to go like through all 1,000 photos to be like download. So the next up in settings is email, right? So again, on a per gallery basis, right, you can set the name of like it's coming from Terrance. You can set the reply to email. So if someone hits reply, it'll come back to you, right? You can choose whether you're going to do HTML or text, subject, text, picture, and text, right? So share the gallery or share the picture, right? So when you email, like in the gallery view, there's a share button. And so if you click like this email button, right, the gallery share is what will kind of show up there versus if you click a picture and click the email button, right, a different set of text will come across each time. Right. And then embed code, publish your oh, okay. Yeah, it's not published right now, but there's this is a newer feature, and I think the past 6 months where you can actually embed it into your website rather than, or in a customer's website rather than like needing to always link them to event gallery. I'll show. I have a demo for this as well. Okay, what do we? Okay, so we are at 12:39. We only have 20 minutes left, and I know Shane, you like to leave time for questions, right? And I have like 8 demos. So do you want me to start going through some of those? Do you want to like what do you want to do for like this last 20 minutes?
I personally do not have anything holding me back from keeping this Zoom meeting going longer than the hour that we had allotted for it. With the Zoom package that I have, we can go longer than an hour.
Okay.
Without any issues.
All
so we'll just throw it up right now. So there was one question that somebody asked that I'll ask right now. How long do people generally keep their galleries up?
Oh, forever.
And my answer personally is, I tell people with the different packages that they get how long their gallery is going to stay up. The more money they spend, the longer their gallery is going to stay up. But I will tell you that I've never taken a gallery down from SmugMug or Event Gallery. And we used to do all of our event galleries on SmugMug. After the event, we uploaded everything to SmugMug. So I personally have like never taken a gallery down, but that's just been as much from being overworked before COVID hit and now being lazy because, I find myself struggling to focus on my business at this exact moment.
Yeah. So I think my contract says we keep it up for a year, right? And like, again, I haven't taken one down yet. Maybe I'll hide them off the homepage, right? They're still URL accessible, but I see my event gallery as also a representation of the work I can do, right? And so like, if someone's like, oh yeah, I want to like, what does a photo booth look in this venue or this style or this sort of thing? Like, oh, you can go look at the entire gallery that has that backdrop, right? Like I find no reason to get rid of them. And I'm sure at some point when I first started with an event gallery, I think the maximum size was like 20 gigs of space. And then I upgraded to the 51, and I think they now have 101. So I'm sure at some point in 2 years, I'll be asking for a third level.
Is there anybody else that wanted to add to that conversation on how long they keep their galleries up? Okay, so before Terrance begins his demos, which I'm excited to see, does anybody have any other questions about anything that he's gone over so far? And just to remind people, Wally did go through some of this stuff as well in one of the other presentations. So there's good, it's good sometimes to hear things twice, once or twice to reinforce things. But you can always go back as well and rewatch, old recordings of the previous Zoom trainings or this one, after the fact. So the question was, so you pay for more space if you want more space, correct? Can you show?
That is now the way it works. Previously, it wasn't. So before there used to be like a light tier where like there were some features that were gated behind like the paywall. And I believe now it doesn't do that. So billing and plans change, right? So here are the plans. Oh, there's a 500 gig one. Okay, that's new, right? So previously, I believe there used to be like a light version to the left here that was like 25 gigs or 10 gigs. And then it didn't allow you to disable the copyright. You couldn't have your own custom logo, couldn't have your custom domain, right? But now everything offers exactly the same features. And basically you just pay on a per size base.
And you save 2 months payments by paying for the year instead of paying by month. So
I'm willing to give Wally and team the extra money. I love
Yeah,
the product.
but just pointing that out for, people playing along at home.
Yeah, I got to meet Owen, who was like the lead developer or is the lead developer, I don't know, at PBX this past year. And we had like a 4-hour conversation just geeking out over how Event Gallery works. And it was one of the best conversations I had at PBX. Owen is amazing. Okay, so I guess demo times, right? Is that what we're doing? Okay. So I just created a little demo, right? I just created a gallery, right? Event gallery, GIF, demo. I uploaded a video. I'm going to complete it, right? Yes, publish, right? Sometimes that happens. Like if you click the save button or publish button twice in a row, it gets a little confused and it gives you 2 messages. That's okay, right? We're going to create a new gallery. We're going to call it EG MP4 demo, right? Today's date, and the only change we're going to make is we're going to display MP4 video. Save. We're going to add the same exact video file. Hope I remember which one it was. This one. Open. Come on. There we go. Okay. Complete. Yes, publish. Okay. So, all right. So if we go into the GIF one, right? We click here. All right. So there's really, oh, I'm on the wrong view. That's why. Gallery. Okay. So, okay, there's the MP4 demo. Where's the other one? See, there should be more here. Okay, that's fine. So here, if we click on we actually get like a, yeah, why is it doing that? Sorry, no. All I was trying to show is that there are 2 different experiences. Oh, man.
Hey,
Okay.
Terrance, I'll just
Yes, Wally.
stick in my head right quick.
No, go ahead.
There are 2 different settings for video, how video files are handled, because it may be a GIF and it may be, something like that, or it may be a full slow motion video.
Yeah,
And that's what that MP4 setting is for.
exactly.
One of them creates a little, thumbnail for you to see that looks like the GIF. The other one is the full video. If you turn the MP4 video on, then the video comes up and you can click play and you can watch the whole video and hear sound and everything. If you have that turned off, then it assumes it's just a GIF and it only displays it as a GIF.
Okay, so maybe that's what's happening. So
Yeah.
let me upload an actual slow motion video rather than just a GIF, and we should see the actual difference. Please. Oh no. Okay. So, right. We're gonna add images. Add this one. Open. Complete. Go. If we refresh, they will both be there. Okay. There we go. So here's the GIF one, right? When you click through, it still kind of shows up as a GIF, even though it is a video. So if I switch over to the MP4 version, right, you see here's the same. This gives you a little GIF like thumbnail. Seriously? I don't know what's happening. Okay, this should show a video. Wally, do you have any idea what's happening? Because I have the, oh, display MP4 video. There we go. Save. I thought I checked that the last time. Okay, there we go. Go back to MP4, refresh. So now we get the actual like displayed video, right? So you actually get like the full slow motion video that happens versus the GIF. Go back. Right, so you have the GIF here, you click on it, you actually get the full playing video, right? If we go back to the GIF demo, GIF, right? If you don't have that optimized on, you still just get the GIF version rather than the video version. So that's kind of the first demo of like why you might pick one setting over the other, right? With practical difference, you can actually see the very different features. Okay. It's the next demo I have. Yes.
Okay, so there's a question that's relevant here.
Yep.
Ted asked, I have not had any luck with MP4 boomerangs uploading. Photos upload fine. Now, are you uploading videos directly through, well, here you're not, obviously you're downloading them directly through, from a file and just adding it into the folder. But when you upload videos, do you upload them through Darkroom Booth, or do you do them through Hot Folder, or how do you typically upload your videos?
So I haven't really done, like the last time I tried slow motion with Darkroom, it was a little flaky, right? But that was, nearly 18 months ago. Right. And I know for this past PBX, Darkroom did a bunch of improvements to make slow motion better. And so in the past, I've used either my 360 software or PBU, is that the right one? To do slow motion. Right. And so either case, I'm either uploading the entire album, or I'm using Hot Folder, or I'm using, the Zapier thing.
Okay, so I'll ask Wally to jump in too, because they did the 360 photo booth for Darkroom at PBX, like you mentioned, and I know that the videos, I believe the videos were posting directly to Event Gallery.
Yeah, so as long as the video is small enough, and I believe the limit's 50 megabytes, it should work no problem through Darkroom, Hot Folder, or anything else. Like everything kind of has that limit.
Yeah, that's true. We were using two different cameras at different times to illustrate that. We were using a Canon M50, which produces a 720p slow motion file, and then we also did for a while use a Canon M6, which produces a 1080p slow motion file, so much bigger file sizes. We just, use them back and forth just to show that you could. But the camera itself produces the slow motion file, and then those were posted directly to Event Gallery. So obviously, if it's a bigger file, it's going to take longer to upload. There is a 50 megabyte file limit, but we were doing, like I said, about a 4 or 5 second slow motion video, which translates to 45 seconds or so, something like that, on playback. And with that 1080p file, their files are huge. They still were just uploading just fine.
Yeah, so I'd probably reach out to support about that, because as far as I know, there's no real limitation other than file size. And so it might be something else, but it should work no problem as far as I'm aware of.
Yeah, the any output should automatically post to Event Gallery if you're using Darkroom Booth 3. So whether it's a GIF or an MP4 or slow motion, whatever output it is, it should post to the Event Gallery. If you've got a specific one that's not doing it, when you other things are working, then the most likely case is it's not saving or something the MP4 correctly. So you might want to check with support on that so they can look at your individual situation.
Thank you both.
Yep. So next up, I'm going to show you a live feed. So I'm just going to rearrange.
Terrance, while you're getting that set up, I just want to interject this. I need to stand corrected here. Terrance is correct. You can't put your custom SMTP information into Event Gallery. I was thinking about Darkroom booth, I guess, for iPad. You can do it there or in Darkroom for booth for Windows. But in the Event Gallery, you do use the built-in. My honest opinion, I agree with Terrance. When you're at an event like this using Event Gallery, most people are going to use it on their phone and they're going to download it directly. That's a lot faster, easier way of doing it. Emailing it, texting it, certainly you can do those things. But maybe that's an improvement we can add to the Event Gallery in the future. But right now, you do use the built-in SMTP server, and it does come from eventgallery.com. One of the reasons we chose a more generic name like eventgallery.com is so that it doesn't, stand out in your face that you're using Darkroom. So that was the purpose of that. Sorry to butt in. I'll let you go back to Terrance.
No, I'm glad to have someone else to help out. Like some of these things, I don't always understand the intent. So it's great to have someone who at least works on the software versus just abusing the software, trying to, letting me know how it's supposed to be rather than what I see. Or the intent, right? So the next up, I did a live gallery. This one comes out a little weird because I have both 2x6s and 4x6s in here. Generally, when I run this at an event, I'm just pumping the 4x6s into Event Gallery and do the 2x6s later. So it all tiles nicely, but I am submitting a support feature or like a feature request of like, can we, make a slightly better experience for when we have both 2x6s and 4x6s in a gallery. But you can change things, add a logo, background, different things. More or less, it works when you have everything the same size. I really like it when that's the feature. Next up is our watermarks, right? So on this gallery, I added a watermark, right? And so both this image and this video, right, which is showing up as a GIF right now, but that's okay. Both have a watermark on them. If you go into Event Gallery and disable watermarking on the gallery, all the watermarks go away. So if you do want to kind of do a purchase your gallery sort of thing, like if you're a photographer, not just a photo boother, right, you can send your photos up here for preview and then disable the watermarking after you get like payment or whatever you choose. I don't know if you need something better for a photographer. I'm not a photographer selling like wedding photos, so I don't know if that fits your use case necessarily all the time, but just kind of wanted to show that, right? So if I go in here, go back to here, watermark demo, right? Settings, watermark and logo, disable, save, right? Go back to here, refresh, right? You can now see that they're gone. So very quick, as soon as you hit save, it swaps them out, right? What's my next demo? Oh, branded demo. Okay, I'm gonna have to start closing some of these out. So next up, so I showed you earlier that on the microsite, you can basically change almost every color and every feature about it. So in this case, I went and grabbed the Coca-Cola logo, changed the background colors to red. Maybe that's their sort of thing. Change the footer at the bottom to something like sign up for an email list and get 25% off. Again, think of kind of your upsells or want to match your brand or whatever. Great sort of thing. Sounded like a question. No? Okay. Next up, we have the embedded demo, right? So you generate your code. So this is just a page on my website that I use for testing. But based on the embedded code, you can actually add the entire gallery here and people can click on items, right? Pop up. I just had one. There you go. See, you can see them, you can scroll through them, load them. So if you don't want to use Event Gallery directly or send your clients to it, but you want to keep them on your website, right? You can just keep loading more and more. We had a lot of strips for this event, so take a while to get to the 4x6s, but you can kind of see like you can just keep going as you want. There are settings of like how many do you want to load at a time. I have it set to 20. The default is 3. You can change the width, the height, sort of different aspects of the gallery. So if I go back here, I'll just show you that real quick. That is Spectra. Oh, you can actually go to settings right from it, but here's the embed code, right? So you can change how big you want each row to be, how wide you want it to be, and how many photos load each time you hit the load more. So, and it'll pick, like, based on what your width is, how many photos it's going to try to get into that width. What's the next one? Oh, yes, my favorite one. And then the last feature, where's that one? Do I have it up? Oh, right here. So this is kind of crazy, and this is kind of a rough demo. I did it at 2 a.m. just to kind of prove that it can be done. But you'll see behind here's actually the event gallery, and I have my website laid over it, right? And so you can actually do things like add in lead capture forms to your galleries. So prior to someone actually viewing your gallery, they have to enter in their email or phone number, name, things like that, right? And so, you know, once they do that, they can hit the submit button and it goes away, right? Right, but every time you hit here, you have to do that. I know that's one of the features some people have seemed to implement it on SmugMug, is like a portal sort of thing of like, give us your email address before you can view the gallery. So it's something you can do. I just set up a really quick and dirty demo to show that it can be done inside of Event Gallery.
And did you do that all through Event Gallery, or did you use something else to assist you in creating that?
So this uses the power of Google Tags Manager, which is an entire 4 courses in itself. But yes, like Google Tags Manager is so awesome, right? It's actually how we embed our ad tracking for Google, LinkedIn, and Facebook all into Event Gallery. So even if you didn't sign up for us, but you ended up on our gallery because you were at an event, we can now start sending you ads of like, oh, you went to Spectra. Did you enjoy your photo booth at Spectra? Like, would you love to book a photo booth at your event? Like, we can start running those ads, right? And just targeting them to warm leads that have been through our photo booth before, right? And we can target our ads to, oh, you've been to Spectra. Would you like to, have, again, we can actually say that in our ad copy of like, did you enjoy Spectra? Book your photo booth for your event, right? Right, and I do that all through Google Tag Manager, and then this is just kind of pushing Google Tag Manager further, right, to actually add in this website that views on top of it with a close button that then shows you what's underneath it.
Gotcha.
Right, so that's kind of all the kind of crazy stuff I have. I know I blew through a lot of those demos, so anyone have questions or things they want to know about or see, I'm happy to go back through them.
So I want to kind of go back to the very beginning. You and Clay and I were talking before everybody kind of got on. Mm-hmm. And Wally and I have talked about this before. So there is a limitation with Event Gallery in that unless you have hot folder, you cannot upload all 3 of the photo strip, the individual photos from the photo session, and an animated GIF directly from Darkroom booth to Event Gallery. So in order to do that, you use hot folder to do that. And Wally addressed this, you've addressed this multiple times today, which I think is great. But so that's how I use Event Gallery. When I do a photo booth rental, I use hot folder and Dark and Event Gallery all together, and we upload the photo strip, the individual photos, and the animated GIFs to the Event Gallery for that event. When you add in hot folder, into the mix, one of the things you have to be really careful of is that your events are all named exactly the same. Wherever you put in the Event Gallery name, you make your Event Gallery name exactly the same in hot folder and in Darkroom booth, and that you have the same date for hot folder and for Darkroom booth, so that it doesn't create a new album, like you showed, earlier, with, with a different date or with today's date. So if you set everything up for, yesterday's date, but then, you start using it and it creates, for this date. So, yeah, so I mean, if you want, so my point, I guess, is if you want all three of those elements to be uploaded to your event gallery for guests to be able to download or share or whatever, however you use event gallery, you can do that, but you have to have hot folder as
Shane.
part of the equation in order to get all three of those elements, all three of those outputs uploaded to event gallery. I know Wally wants to chime in and add something to that.
I was just going to clarify, and that's correct for now. Two reasons. One, somewhat of an oversight on our part with Event Gallery. We didn't put into Darkroom Booth the ability to upload the original photos immediately. And then we were working on, about the time COVID hit, what we call linked photos. Okay, it's going to be a feature in Event Gallery that's being currently worked on and polished up a little bit. But basically, the goal is when you do an event like with Darkroom Booth 3, and you upload both the strip and the photos that make up the strip, the original photos. The 4 items, like for instance, if you have 3 photos in the strip, you'll see the 3 original photos and the strip all on the same page so that they're linked together. You don't have to go scrolling down through the gallery to find the photo strip and then here's the individual photos down here or something. So that's in the works and something that we're working on. But currently, if you want to upload both the photo strip and the individual photos, the workaround is to use hot folder. Now, you can also, if you only want to do one event, one gallery kind of thing, you can just turn off the uploading in Darkroom Booth 3 and then have Darkroom Booth 3 using the save output feature, save the photo strip and the save originals both to the same hot folder, and then they'll all just be uploaded together to the same gallery. So you're just using hot folder to do all the uploading instead of uploading one thing with the hot folder and one thing with the gallery. Does that make sense?
Yes, makes sense to me.
Okay.
And that might actually be the easiest way to do it, is just create one folder on your desktop and have all the outputs that you want to go to the event gallery be saved to that folder, and then have hot folder, upload them to event gallery.
Yeah, we actually put created hot folder and added the event gallery posting in hot folder so that other applications, other competing software could still use the event gallery. And that was the purpose of that. But the linked gallery or the linked photos feature, once that's all polished up and finished with Darkroom Booth, it'll just be a checkbox and it'll put all of them together and they'll all be displayed on the same page together. So that's the goal, and that's what we're working on.
Great. I think I know I'm not actually sure I know the answer to this question that Jessica asked. Can you create, well, yes, I do know the answer to this, but so Jessica asked, is there a single QR code that can be used to go to the event gallery so it can be used for different events, or do you have to have a new one for each event? My answer to that would be depending on where you create the QR code.
Well, if you think of QR codes as the URL, okay, so for instance, the Darkroom sample URL for the event gallery is drs/eventgallery.com. If you had a QR code that contained that URL, it would take you to the main page and you'd see all of them. If you want to see a specific one, you'd need a different QR code to take you to that specific one. So you'd want to generate a QR code for each individual gallery so that people can see that and take you to it. Darkroom Booth 3 does that for you. It can create the QR code for you and lets you print it out so that people can just use their phone to take it. But the QR code is, it's not, magic within Darkroom. It's been around for a long time. QR codes have been, they've just kind of became a new resurgence of use when Apple added the ability to just point your camera at a QR code and have it do things. And so the QR code to take you to the URL, you'd have to have a separate one for each gallery.
And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, Wally, but you cannot generate a QR code from Event Gallery that's going to take you to your dashboard, your Event Gallery dashboard. Is that correct?
To you mean the main page where you see all of the galleries?
Yes.
Yeah, you can.
Oh, okay.
I wouldn't want to.
Right. But you
know.
can create that in Event Gallery?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, you can create it in Darkroom Booth.
Right. Okay.
But there are gobs of free QR code generators on the web. If you just go to Google and type QR code generator, you'll find all sorts of them. But yeah, I wouldn't personally. I agree with Terrance. It's all about the branding, and you don't want people to necessarily go to Event Gallery and see, other people's events. You just want them to see their event. So I would create a QR code that just took them to their event.
Right. So Ted brings up a point that I know that you've addressed, Wally. When you're creating the names for your events, it's best to not put anything in your event name that does not work in a URL.
Yeah, I mean, it's your URL for your event is created directly from that name, and so if you put characters in there that aren't allowed in URLs, like an ampersand or a apostrophe or something like that, the subcode of the software will remove those things. And so if you look at the URL for your event, let's say that you type the name to be Bob and Marcy with an ampersand, Bob ampersand Marcy. The URL would end up being Bob hyphen Marcy because an ampersand won't work in a URL. So, it's best to try to avoid those in the first place so that it doesn't do that. Now, the name of it would display the ampersand, but not the URL.
Right.
And that's just because the web, you can't have an ampersand in a URL.
Yep. Okay. So does anybody have any other questions for Terrance or Wally or anybody regarding Event Gallery? In case you missed it in the comments, Wally mentioned that a more robust live gallery is in the works for Event Gallery. So to Terrance's point about not being able to easily show images of multiple sizes in the live gallery, that may be being addressed in future updates.
Yeah, we've always, got lots of plans for the future, and sometimes things, it's just like anything else. You just have to pace yourself, and as development time and money become available, you make those changes. We're also interested in, input. I know Terrance mentioned the embedding galleries. That's a recent feature that was added based on some input that I got from someone at PBX that used Event Gallery. So that was recently added.
Great. All right, well, if there's no other questions that anybody has, want to thank Terrance again for taking the time to put the presentation together and sharing the things that he does with the Event Gallery and how to do those. Wally for joining the call and adding the additional expertise to some of the points and some of the questions. That's Wally taking time out of his day to join the call to help us out, and that's greatly appreciated. And again, thank you to all of you who continue to sign up for the trainings and watch the videos afterwards and help to continue this on. For those of you who are thinking about next week, Please note that there is a date change for next week. It will be on Thursday, not on Wednesday. So it'll be on Thursday, October 1st from 2 to 3. And that training will be on graphic design and will be led by Clay Moore. And then Wally and I have talked about a couple of additional darkroom booth features that we think could warrant a hour long or 45-minute long discussion. So I'm going to follow back up around with him and see if we can add a couple more of those onto the schedule. And as long as there's continued interest and people are available and willing to donate their time to lead the discussions, we will continue with a few more weeks of these Zoom trainings. So thank you all very much for joining, and have a great day.
Bye all.
Bye, everybody.